Hi everyone, welcome to my channel The Literary Bus. If you're new to this channel, please ensure that you like, share and subscribe. So today we're going to do the explanation of Ian Fleming's fifth novel, From Russia with Love. So if you want a dedicated video on Ian Fleming, then do comment on the comment section so that I can make that dedicated video. So let's start with the complex plot of this particular novel, From Russia with Love. Now let me tell you how the structure of the novel is divided. Like it has two distinct parts. The first part is the plan and the second part is the execution. So in the first part, we are not meeting our hero James Bond, but we will be introduced by the villains and what conspiracy they are making. That's why the part 1 is called the plan and part 2 is called the execution, because the part 2 is something where everything will going to happen, whatever is planned in the part 1. So who are those villains and what they are doing? So if you will read the novel, the very opening of the novel will get introduced by a man who is called as Donovan Grant, and he is also known as Red Grant. He is the chief executioner of SMERSH. SMERSH is a counter intelligence agency of Russia, and it's said to be the ruthless Russian MGB death squad. And if we talk about Ian Fleming's first novel, Casino Royale, and the subsequent novels, Live and Let Die, Bond is seen fighting with that ruthless Russian counter-intelligence death squad. Talking about Donovan Grant again, he was born out of a union of a German weightlifter known as the Mighty O'Donovan and a Southern Irish waitress. And his childhood was not that great. He was aggressive in nature and he started getting urges to kill when he was just 15, and he had killed various people at the age of 18, and this was something that grabbed the eyes of SMERSH, and they hired him for assassinating their enemies. Now, without wasting any time, let's go to SMERSH headquarters. So it's a large office on the second floor, and there lives General Grubo Zuboyshikov. He is referred as General G, and he served as the head of SMERSH. And he is like a military official with a shaved head, thick black brows, tight white skin with a broad mouth and a cleft chin. Now he received orders from General Serov. Now he is the chief of the Committee of State Security that you should hold a high level meeting with 3 high ranking Soviet officials. And who they were? First, Lieutenant General Slavin. He is the head of Army Intelligence. Second, Lieutenant General Vozdovishensky. He is the intelligence department. He is in the intelligence department of Foreign Affairs. And Colonel of State Security Nikitin. He is the head of intelligence for the MGB. Now General G explains the purpose of this meeting. So he explains about its purpose, that they have to devise, quote unquote, a conspicuous act of terrorism to be carried out in enemy territory within 3 months. Now the question arises that who should be their target in the British Secret Service? And Colonel Nikitin suggested that it should be James Bond. So ultimately James Bond became the specific target of their operation. So let's disclose that conspiracy. Now General G calls SMERSH hierarchy to, plot the scheme. 2 SMERSH officers were now called to meet General G. The first one is Colonel Rosa Klepp, head of Audit Department Operations and Execution, and Colonel Cranston, head of Planning Department. Now Cranston was also known as the Wizard of Ice, because he was from professional chess community. And what happened that he was on the verge of beating his opponent Makarov, but then he received this anonymous note written as "You are required this instant," and he has to leave everything. Cronston went to the office. There is General G, there is Rosa Clip. Started the discussion that how they'll, kill James Bond and how they'll take their revenge. Now, Colonel Rosa Clay was something a very weird creation of Ian Fleming. So, it said that she had worked as a double agent during the Spanish Civil War, and if you talk about her as a person, so she is bisexual. That's why she is one of Fleming's weird creation, and she is in her late 40s. She is short, squat, deceptively strong, and overall shaped like a cello. She has thinning orange hair, yellow brown eyes, and a pale skin. And she is described as ugly. On the other hand, Cronston is a psychopath and he has no concern for other people. Cronston devised a plan by reading the mind of James Bond. He come up with two requests. First, to recruit an assassin who speaks perfect English and a beautiful girl. Now this Rosa Klebb, she chooses a corporal of state security, Tatiana Romanova, and she is also known as Tanya, for the role of the beautiful lure. So she is 24-year-old, tall and beautiful. So she had all that charms that can lure James Bond. So Tatiana Romanova receives a phone call and she was asked to report to Rosa Klebb's apartment. She is terrified at the thought of meeting that woman because that woman was a bisexual woman and she had a very horrible reputation. But still, it was the order of Smersh, so she has to leave. Now, Klebb called her to her apartment and she asked uncomfortable questions to her. And Klebb insists that Tanya should feel honored that she is there as she has been chosen to take part in an important assignment. And after that, she will be promoted to captain. Now, Klebb tries to woo her because we know who she was. After that, she is then shown a photograph of Bond and she is asked that you should fall in love with this man. Now, Tanya admits Bond is attractive and Klebb explains that he is an English spy and her assignment is that she has to meet him and seduce him so that he will take back her to England and where she will be interrogated, and then after time she will be released and she can return to Moscow. So what happened that the full story was not told to her, just the half of it. Now the first clause was to hire an assassin. So Red O'Donovan Grant was called at Rosa Klebb's office, and what she did, she just punches him in the chest with a knuckle duster to see what's the tolerance level of that man is. And it appears that he's a man of strength, and he was asked to go as undercover to kill an English spy, of course James Bond. So this is the end of the part 1, that is called The Plan. I hope you have understood. If there are any confusion, you can always comment in the comment section. And I will be uploading the next part of this particular novel, that is part 2, The Execution. Till then, like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Jai Hind.